addressed you, and the minority caucus addressed you. And I thought that it is only fair for our side of the house to also explain to you exactly what happened. The events that occurred there pertain to whether or not, any time that the governor of the central bank appears before the house, whether it has to be a public hearing. That's the basic question. Whether any time that the central bank governor appears before the house, it must be a public hearing. And we said that the rules were changed so that the house can invite the governor to appear not before the house in plenary, but appear before the house as a committee of the whole. That is what the rules say. Many of you have been covering this house for so many years. And you all know that apart from the ministers, all the other independent constitutional bodies that come, they come and appear before the committee of the whole. And you all cover this house, and you know that when the administrator of common fund comes, have we allowed you to ever cover it? I'm asking you journalists, do you cover the common fund administrator? Do you cover the NHRA boss? All those, and even most of the time, unless we meet and decide, when the electoral commissioner comes here, you don't cover the electoral commissioner. So the central bank governor came to answer questions posed by Kojo Nkrumah. And we said that let's do what we do for all other independent constitutional bodies, which is let us sit without the media, because that's what we do for everybody. And they said, no. The media must be in. We said no. Our practice has always been that for these independent constitutional bodies, we don't hear them at plenary, and we don't do it before the cameras. And they said we had set a precedent by inviting the media to participate. The last time we invited the governor to answer questions regarding the cost of the office building of the Bank of Ghana. And so because we had set that precedent, at all times, we must allow the media in. Now said, it is up to the committee to decide. Because if you read our standing orders, it says in order 266 that meetings of committees, and the committee of the whole is also a meeting of the committee. So it says that proceedings of a committee shall be held in public except otherwise determined by the committee. So I asked them to convince the entire committee to want to sit in public. But if you don't convince the entire committee to agree to sit in public, you cannot force the committee to sit in public. And they walked away. They couldn't convince the committee to sit in public and rather opted to walk out and abandoned the question. Meanwhile, the governor himself knew that there will be journalists. So his answers are actually captured in a press release. The answers that the governor was going to provide to Parliament, he had already captured it as a press release and was willing to even share it with the journalists. So I want you to know that there's nothing that the governor is afraid of answering in public. It is just that I believe that we must adhere to our rules. And if indeed your interest is in finding out something about the way that the finances of this country are being managed, the man who is managing is sitting in front of you. You can ask the question and then satisfy yourself that the finances are being properly managed. You can use the information in your engagements in other areas and on other platforms. But clearly, What the minority has done is to show that they are not interested in the question and the answers to the question. They are interested in the media optics. Saying that the governor has come, ask him your questions. Say no, unless the journalists are standing there, you will not ask him the questions. I said, but we don't do that for all the other independent constitutions. But why must it be the governor that we must be subjecting to that at all times? I did it because I had the numbers, so I could convince the committee of the whole at that time to have the journalists in and cover the proceedings. If you want to do that, you have to approach us, you have to work with us, and we will all agree that this is how we're going to do it. But when you have an attitude of you want to do things the way you want at all times, you are here this morning, you ask the minister a question,